bracket where we got to find out which team is going to move on forward into the lower bracket final. We're coming off of a winner bracket final match, and well, spoiler alert, NewBee have secured the first spot into the grand final, and now that means that Tong Fu are going to be awaiting the winner of this matchup in the lower bracket final. Bringing you the English coverage for the MDL is going to be myself, Coddle Guy, and now I'm going to be joined by my good buddy here, Blaze, remotely. Blaze, what's up, my friend? Good morning and welcome to more Chinese Dota action. How you feeling today?
Feeling pretty good. Waking up to an Ursa CK Clockwork Tricor, so we're seeing the metagame go like full force. I don't really know what that is. I don't really know what that means, but it looks to be a lot of fun.
I was pretty damn speechless at the time. I didn't really know what was happening before my very eyes with the commitment to the, I believe it was a 4th pick CK and then a 5th pick Ursa. I knew that we were going to be in for quite an interesting treat. And for Tong Fu, they ended up kind of putting himself into a playstyle that I wasn't used to seeing from them. They're a team that's more on the assault, utilizing the Spirit Breaker as best as possible and rolling with the punches and never kind of losing momentum. And here they were pulling out a Medusa where they funneled so much onto her and she was unable to really be a factor at all. So we'll see if they're going to be able to bounce back in the next round. But for now, it's a battle of Blaze. Who is the youngest and hardiest and most handsome of them all? CDEC Youth or NewBee Young? Both you squads here. Who do you think? I haven't even looked at the odds for this matchup.
I think we got some issues for the game, the lobby. We got 0 reserve time and a lot of disconnects.
Really here? Oh, you are right. We are seeing a bit of a change up here. Let me quickly hop out. I'll switch over the screen so nobody has to see all that's happening. Leave that game, and we'll quickly hop in a new one. All right. Well, Blaze, we're probably going to have to take it back here, hop into a new lobby, and get underway. Sorry to kind of tease everyone here, but it looks like there was a reconnection for some reason, and obviously I don't speak the language, so we will just play as lemmings here and quickly file suit and get right back into the new lobby, which is back up, Blaze, so I'm sure you'll join me in just a moment. And for everyone else, I'll leave you at the splash screen with a little bit of music, and when we hop into the new game, I promise we'll get in as soon as it started, so we'll see you very soon. NewBee Young versus CDEC Youth. We're back in the lower bracket for the MDL Chinese qualifier. We got 4 teams left, and we got to find out which team is going to make it into the final spot at the MDL land to compete with some of the best Dota players from across the globe. Back once again after a bit of a flub for our first game creation. We believe it was due to the wrong team getting the wrong first pick, but it seems to have been sorted now. Coddle Guy here, and back with Blaze once again, and All right, Blaze. The question I was going to pose before we had to recreate was that coming into this matchup, I actually personally didn't really look over the odds favorite, but if you had to pick a team that's probably coming in as the underdog and which team's coming as the favorite, who would you say it was?
Well, overall, I've been more impressed with CDEC Youth over the past couple of months, but this tournament in particular, NewBee Young have been impressing me. They've been showing some new strategies and some new movement and some new life that I really hadn't seen in them before. So I think that they have the drive to take this, although I would say CDEC Youth might be the better team. NewBee Young right now are playing a better game than I've seen from them in a long time, so I would actually give them a slight edge, but it's pretty much dead even.
So the journey for these teams to make it here, for those of you who are able to tune into a lot of the early qualifier action, NewBee Young did start off their journey against CDEC Youth already, and they were actually taken down 2-0. After that point, NewBee Young went up against We Are Young, which was another battle of the youth, apparently, where Young won that one. NewBee Young won that one 2-0, went on forward, and this is where they met up against CDEC Gaming. CDEC Youth were knocked down by NewBee. What an ironic world we live in here, where it's like all the franchises facing off against each other and their junior counterparts on top of each other. It makes for what looks like a very confusing bracket, but here we are down to the last final four. We'll see who's going to walk out on top. At the draft itself, look at CDEC Youth firing off already. The Faceless Void, we saw how valuable it was yesterday, Blaze, and haven't seen it yet today. I'm happy to see it now. That time dilation can really be a game changer for a lot of teams, and to build on top of that, they got a little bit of global flair with the Zeus, and the opening pickup right now for NewBee Young is going to be the OD, followed by the Vengeful Spirit.
Radiant team back.
Yeah, never mind. I take it all back. CDEC Youth, they get the Void. They threw the pool. I'm like, okay, NewBee Young, they got something going for them. Lee's got some good initiation. Nope, Void, Zeus. I love CDEC Youth's opener. I mean, if we just look at the history between the two teams, it's like 7-1 in favor of CDEC. So NewBee are expected to step up their game really heavily here. Like, they are going to look to impress. They're going to look to make something happen. I thought it'd be, maybe like the OD, and then Inflame tries to go for the puck matchup again, and we just get to see like our third iteration of that, where he just really wants to master that 1v1. But no, we're seeing something completely different. The Zeus is a great hero to stay back away from the OD. You could still last hit against him, even though he's able to control the lane so effectively. And then as long as they can reach the mid game there and get some good damage dealers to put hits into the Chronosphere, I'm really have high expectations for CDEC Youth. So where CDEC Youth, I think, are better at learning from their mistakes, and I would say they're favored in game 2. I thought that they might struggle in game 1, but with this opener, I'm much more confident.
It's funny because when I look back in the recent history here for NewBee Young, and specifically one of their drafts against CDEC Youth, it looks pretty damn similar to this one. A Faceless Void and Zeus. Potentially to add on top of it would have been the Gyrocopter, which I was going to suggest, but has already been banned out. Other than that, Lena was another go-to, and of course the Spirit Breaker, which surprisingly has been ignored up to this point. I feel like almost every team in this qualifier, at least the ones I've gotten to personally watch, always put such huge priority in grabbing up the Spirit Breaker and or Darkseer, and we're seeing neither of them grabbed right now. So, I mean, I know Faceless Void's already been committed here for CDEC Youth, but I'm curious to see what NewBee Young are going to be going for on their side.
Yeah, and they also have some pretty interesting bans. I mean, banning out the Nyx Assassin, obviously a good counter to the OD in terms of that mana burn intelligence, but otherwise the Ame Morphling seems to be what they're afraid of here. They're just, I mean, Morphling's not a really good hitter from the distance as far as auto attacks, but of course his Adapt to Strike and Waveform can still dump damage in the Chrono much the same way. So if you're afraid of the Zeus getting an early Veil of Discord, with all those ultis combining together and the Morphling just kind of throwing in the two-hit combo, I think there's some real danger there for sure. But I don't know. I like the response at least. The Vengeful Spirit swap out might save a life, and obviously I won't save a life in terms of like numerical values, but in terms of carry value. Like if somebody more important is in the Chrono, she'll sacrifice herself, and it'll give NewBee some more potential going into the second stage of the fight.
I'm going to foresee a possible Terrorblade to show up here from the side of CDEC Youth. It's something that Ame has gone for in the past, and they have even ran in conjunction with a Chronosphere setup, so look at for one of the last remaining possible options for him to be able to contribute outside of that bubble here, and how effective it might be against this NewBee Young, and if they even feel it's necessary to have to commit to at this point in the draft. They do have some flexibility, it looks like, to work with here, so we'll see how they want to dictate the pace of it.
Reserve time.
Yeah, I think maybe we'll look at like the 4th pick carry, and then right now we'll just kind of keep it at 3rd for the like a controlling hero. The Witch Doctor's fine. Cask is going to do some good work, but we're going to see the Juggernaut come through from NewBee Young. Jaja extremely comfortable here. If he can't get the gyro, he wants the jug, and that's a lot of carry players. Honestly, it's just a very simple comfort pick. You can pretty much do whatever you need to with this hero. As far as the initial burst damage on the Void, I think they're going to need to pack a little bit more punch than this, though. I mean, if they want to actually kill a Void before he just time walks out, you're going to have one really good stun on top of this magic missile.
10 seconds
What would be, and is it worth putting in even extra disable on top of it? You get something like maybe the Mighty Lion, let's say, which is something a lot of these Eastern teams have been reaching for. If they want to build on top of maybe some sort of push strat behind the jug, maybe a shaman, but definitely need additional lockdown now. Maybe incorporate some sort of silence game here or something. Rubik actually going to be the grab. This comes after the puck commitment from CDEC Youth, so we are going to be seeing a puck once more for.
Yeah, I like the Rubik here. Obviously, Death Ward is one of the few challenge spells that is almost impossible to steal because of Voodoo Restoration, but still, being able to steal like the Chronosphere, we've seen that work out actually really well because it's actually better than it used to. Because Void used to be played a lot more position 1. It used to be a lot more about the damage that he dealt in the Chronosphere. Now it's about his allies on the outside. Yeah. So I would say that although you can't disable the Void via Chrono, Rubik is still happy to be able to steal that because he's about as useless as the Void when it comes to actually fighting within it. So it's not as bad of a factor that Void gets to run around and do his own thing. Other than that, yeah, Puck's spells are pretty good. Zeus's spells are pretty good. I believe we have found ourselves a support Zeus, though. Zeus and Witch Doctor taking the support roles. Inflame taking the puck mid, leaving, of course, the off lane Void for June.
Normally, a lot of the Western Dota, a support Zeus is just something to scoff at and never seems to be able to find the way to get up on their feet. But it seems to have been working pretty well in some of these recent games, and specifically in the hands of CDEC Youth. I still wager that their final pick could be something committed like the Terrorblade here, if not banned out from NewBee Young. Really like the ban on the Bat Rider, by the way, so I'm so curious to see what NewBee Young are going to be going for the off lane. The first thing that popped in my head is maybe the possibility of something like a Tide Hunter, but it's kind of scary to get any sort of blink-heavy initiation when you're going to be going against something like a Zeus, but I don't know. What do you think? Do they need something like a combo breaker like that to kind of disrupt the flow of this Faceless Void a bit?
Yeah, I think that would be pretty solid here. It really depends on Ami's carry pickup. The Ami's carry pickup is stat dependent, like the Terrorblade you're mentioning. Tide is that much stronger because of the Anchor Smash. So I think that that's a pretty good option. They could still go for something old school like a Tusk. Ooh. They're going to see the Clinks.
Radiant team pick.
They've also played this before. It looks like back in their matchup against VG Gaming Potential in MDL. Probably the Open. No, I guess this is not before the Open, but the VG Gaming Potential, they did pull out the Clinks there. So it's still something pretty damn familiar for them here, and someone who could still contribute a lot of quick, hard-hitting damage, specifically from the outside of a Chronos. You're talking Witch Doctor, ulti, Clinks, Puck able to contribute a lot of lockdown here, but is it too much on the back of a Faceless Void at this point? What if he ends up, a swing and a miss? Could that spell a bit of catastrophe for CDEC Youth, or do you think there are enough possible outs and setups between like the Witch Doctor and the Puck that they don't have to worry about that too much?
I mean, they're going to be able to keep them locked in place for the Clinks. They're going to get the Dream Coil or the Chronosphere, and Clinks will be able to get his hits in. It's really the question of if he's tanky enough. And I think maybe a Slardar answer for NewBee Young would be really good because you get the amp damage on Clinks. Suddenly he becomes really squishy. But they go with what you're talking about, the Tide, and that has some real possibility as well. He can die in Chronosphere without getting his spells off, but it's unlikely just because a lot of these heroes are designed to attack fast, and the damage block is really strong against that. Not good against the Death Ward. It cannot be blocked, but it's still, overall, he's going to be a tanky fellow. He's going to get his farm, and we'll see how it plays out. But, yeah, if CDEC Youth does miss the Chronosphere, it's obviously better that they look to just wait out the cooldown and disengage. But if they are committed, I don't think that they're automatically out of the fight. They might trade even.
Can't help but feel like maybe if CDEC Youth are able to get the jump on some of these fights, let's say a lead-in jumping Faceless Void Chrono, I'm sure that will, prompt the Zeus to commit his ulti, whether at the same moment, if not before or right after. And that's where it gets tricky for someone like Tide to be able to jump in and be kind of the game changer, or at least disrupt the flow of what CDEC are trying to achieve. So We'll have to see if that's going to be a problem or not, if he's quick to rush a BKB or something. But for now, a traditional 5-man smoke movement here, which we've been seeing a lot of, and this time it's going to be on the Ame. And it's going to lead to a quick first blood. I swear to God, Blaze, every series this happens at least one game. Something like this, a 5-man move to a core takedown.
I don't know why, like, this, I guess it's these teams in particular. I'm not sure if it's happening to teams like NewBee, but it does seem to happen to one team every single series that we cast, and it's just like, I feel like this is something that we should be past by now, but I don't know, they're trying to scout the movements, and I don't know, it just feels very, like, 2015 to me. I don't know.
It reminds me a lot of like when I was first casting like Leviathan back at like the Summit 2 qualifier. They were a team that always were doing that, and teams didn't even bother to seem to do a bit of research and were always caught off guard by it. And I wouldn't be surprised if next game CDEC Youth is like, well, they're not going to suspect us to go on a 5-man smoke their way. So we'll see if that's going to be the case or not. But right now, as the lanes do break out, we got Darkrai who's going to be blocking out the camp here for Inflame on his puck. Going to be going up against the matchup of OD here, Blaze. Myself, not a big mid-game player. It looks like maybe some mild assistance could be coming in the form of Witch Doctor. But what do you think on paper, the matchup between the OD and the puck?
Obviously, like we've seen Inflame play in multiple situations, he's overall lost the lanes, but I've seen a lot of times they just kind of bring the Zeus over. He just throws like a casual Arc Lightning Bolt at around level 3, and OD is actually pretty squishy. He's pretty dependent on his regen, and if he just gets kind of buffed back with the Zeus contribution, then there's some issues. But we do see Inflame here, gonna have to Orb Phase Jaunt. Should get the Jaunt. No, they comboed the Telekinesis in the prison, and he should be first blood. Or second blood, rather.
He is going to sidestep, gets the Fairy Fire, a bit of salve damage, and okay, finally the right clicks will come through and finish the job there. It takes a little extra muscle power, but quickly NewBee Youth going to be off to a hot 2-0 start. At that same moment, they did have a hefty blitz movement onto the Tidehunter at the bottom lane. A beautiful coconut bounce almost led to them getting at least a return kill, but Tide was able to make it out, choose through his regen, and is back in fighting shape into the lane once more. So looks like it's going to be a hot start here for the OD, and Flame quick and back to the lane here to try to, get himself back into a more dominant position here. But Rubik now is able to hide in the dark and continue to creep on this CDEC squad. And there's no ward, it looks like, here on the bottom lane for CDEC Youth. They will not see the rotation in here, so if Rubik's able to catch him by surprise, it could lead to a bit of trouble here.
Honestly, I think a lot of the laning phase from this point forward depends on one or two Essence Aura procs coming out for SCC. Well, if he could just... Oh, trading hits here pretty actively. Inflame doesn't do his damage with the orb, just uses it to jump, and he's going to try to just play it back a little bit. He's going to get his healing salve again before the bottle. SCC, on the other hand, he's going to use his bottle and then skill Essence Aura, and that increases the value of it because the base mana increase. So suddenly you get this half mana pool that should get you at least one Essence Aura proc.
Oh, Courier spotted mid lane. Mur wants it. He sees it. He's like, you know what? I'm patient. It's fine. I'll let it deliver, but when that little blood-seeking son of a gun comes back this way, that thing's going to be mine. Mur's waiting, mouth watering here. Get that son of a gun. Yo! And one more. And that's an easy little coin purse right there for NewBee Young, and Rubik is going to walk away with Grand Theft Courier right there.
Report Bloodseeker for feeding, please. Honestly, that's all he's done this entire game.
That's the closest we're going to see Bloodseeker in this meta, that is for sure. So he will step back, and now unfortunately for Inflame on his puck, now no access to the Courier to shuffle around his bottle a bit. Was the bottle actually on the Courier too? No, it was not.
No. He's broke as shit, dude. He can't possibly afford it.
He doesn't really have much to offer right now.
But a healing salve. He's just trying to stay on the lane at all, and yeah, it is gonna suck when he does finally have 700 gold and won't be able to even have a shot at it. Maybe he gets a support to just shuffle over there and hand him it from the stash.
Looks like top lane. We didn't get to really pay too much attention up here. It's June in the more solo safe position with some just occasional help nearby in the form of Icy on the Zeus. There's actually a ward right by his feet here, but not going to be able to detect it. It looks like outright here. How's Jaja been finding his own CS though? He's 13-2, but the big breadwinner so far is June, 17-3 on this Faceless Void. Is it a bit surprising to see him in this very farm-heavy, greedy kind of position, or is this going to be to the benefit of their team overall to get this Faceless Void online that much sooner?
I think the biggest surprise is how much he's gotten out of this top lane. What I thought they were doing is just sacrificing him to like the essentially 1v3 on the safe lane, and then they were going to just focus on making sure that Klinks did well in that 1v1 matchup. But we see that the Vengeful Spirit left. It hasn't. The Void is very survivable with the Time Walk. We talked about how they don't really have enough chain stun and damage early on to try to bring him down. So June just takes advantage of that and just goes right on the creep wave. Like, just says, okay, if you're not committing a spin, I don't have to do anything but just hit creeps, and suddenly he's massive at 23 and 3. So this offlane Void is going to get big items very quickly, and yeah, I think it's really telling that they are able to play this matchup more aggressively than what you would normally think.
And he's going right 3-1-1. Time Walk always ready to go. 12-second cooldown to get all that life back. Just seems damn near OP at times when you have to stuck about zoning back this pesky offlane Void. Just like that, eats a little bit of harassment, gets it all back. Well, Icy continues to work with that creep pull a bit. Rubik, once again on the move, successful in his last adventure to the mid lane, bringing down that courier. It looks like this time his smoke movement is going to find himself towards possibly the top lane here. Looking for a deep potential setup on a little cheeky Zeus who's trying to work with the pull camp here. There he's going to be spotted. There's the first leg quick telekinesis. He's going to send him right into Yao with the Blade Fury, and it's an easy kill, an easy takedown, plus a creep camp to work with here. NewBee Youth now off to a 3-0 hot start.
Yep. Some potential down bottom here, though. They got the cast, they got the right clicks, and Ty just tanky with the Kraken Shell, but not that tanky. Fairy Fire's not going to be enough to get him out if they can just get one more hit. Oh, 36 block! That Kraken Shell, too strong.
Value, baby. He's going to be able to walk away from trouble. Klinks can't get close enough for one more right hit, and it's going to be the second time this game we're going to see him barely scathe away with his life. Inflame now has his bottle on hand. The courier is obviously back and alive and well after feeding a bit, but Inflame is still in a bit of recovery mode, and he's probably curious where his opponent is on the other side. OD is actually on the move towards this top lane. They have to know he's currently missing here. They're just not sure if he's heading towards the bottom lane or not. Ame's kind of hanging near the side shop, not sure what to expect. But they're looking for an opportunity to maybe get a catch here onto this farming June Faceless Void. A deep behind tower ward right between actually the tier 1 and tier 2 even. And I think that's all they're going to be getting out of this movement. 2 deep wards here. Oh, it looks like one's about to expire. So they'll maintain that aggressive vision towards the top lane, and Vengeful Spirit will now instead look for an opening possibly onto Inflame. Not going to be easy against the puck, but they're looking for the setup.
Yeah, he's got the ward. He should be fine. He did commit the orb, though, and that's actually a signal for the Venge to go, so he's going to have to take the river route. And this actually might bait the Venge into a bad spot, where they could try to turn it 3v1, since they do have the supports in position. They are, however, level 2 and 3, and this is a double damage level 7 OD. It's not really the fight you want to take. It's a bit of a mismatch. So back bottom, we do see Ame. He's done all right. He's gotten actually the top for his team in CS now, 36, and of course gets to use his ultimate whenever he wants with that soul ring. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he's upset about that, not getting that Tide kill. In fact, the only reason Tide lived was because of his specific skill build. He's essentially got almost 2 poor man shields stacked up with this 3 points on Kraken Shell, and that's the only way he survives in that situation.
Works to his benefit, just expecting he's going to be eating a lot of right-click harassment between the Witch Doctor and the Klinks. It does suit him out well. Now we see Inflame, level 7, Dream Coil online here. Tries to soften up SC a bit, but no hefty commitment quite yet. Darkrai's going to be able to spot out the top bounty, which he will be able to snag up. June continues to have a big free lane for himself here. 41 and 7 CS. He's already got the PMS, the power treads. We'll see if he goes right for the early utility in this one. Something like the Vlads or straight Blink. Hell, I don't even know if a Vlad's... Is it really necessary even this game, only having a Klinks on your team to really benefit a lot from it? Or do you think him and the puck will get a lot from it, and it is necessary for him?
I mean, the Omni Slash physical damage, you got the Anchor Smash, you got your Wave of Terror amping it all up. I feel like the Vlads for the Void is pretty solid, but I've talked about this plenty of times. I feel like if you're getting this much farm early, you might as well just go Hand of Midas.
Yeah.
Like, you can get so much. You can get faster level 16, which is very valuable for your team, and you can get, like, instead of going Ags, you could consider an Octarine Core, which I consider just, like, 30% better, but also that much more expensive.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Well, for now, they're hoping to at least boost their economy further by
Radiant
going right for this
structures
tier
are
1.
fortified.
Glyphed up already, and no real response coming up quite yet from NewBee here, except for the Tidehunter. With Ravage ready to go, he's able to pull the aggro away from the tower itself, but it's not stopping them from chunking it down here, and it looks like this could lead to the first tower takedown. They do commit out a cast here. Ravage only connects on the June, who should be able to time walk away. This comes after he gets a nice chrono down, time walks away from the trouble, and they are going to split away. It costs them the chrono to make a safe escape, but they get away with a tier 1, and they force NewBee to force a lot of rotations to the top lane to get nothing out of it.
Yeah. I actually think that he could have been okay just if he kept walking, if he looked at the Juggernaut's mana. The fact is Juggernaut did not have mana for spin and only got the stick charge from the Chronosphere, so it's actually possible if we just could walk it away, but it's definitely understandable if he didn't. You don't check the Juggernaut's mana in that situation. It's like instantaneous how quickly the Omnislash came out. So yeah, Chrono seems like the appropriate response, and CDEC just will regroup for their next fight. I mean, I would say Ravage is more important than Chronosphere, or maybe equal. So CDEC Youth are fine with that exchange.
Bottom lane, Ame's here, hiding in Skeleton Walk to see if a lone little Chesbug who's been trying to find solo farm is eager to creep past the tower, but she certainly is not. Take the time instead to snipe up some creeps with the Wave of Terror, and is looking to push forward and getting the swap setup play here. And I'm sure NewBee got to be aware this Clinks is going to be somewhere out and on the prowl. What do you think is going to be the appropriate build-up here for Ame in this one? Is it the old traditional Orchid kind of a build-up, or more of that fighting build-up we've been seeing in recent times of like your Medallion and the Desolator? And it also does open up Roche possibilities if he does do that latter build.
Yeah, definitely the Desolator. I'm not sure about Medallion anymore, but it definitely seems like the Desolator is the build to go. You're going to be able to burst people down so quickly. You're even amping up the Death Ward for the Witch Doctor, so I feel like you definitely have to go Desolate this game, and maybe like a BKB after that, since you're up against both OD and Tide.
We'll see if that's going to be the choice here as he continues to farm through the camps now. First hammer's done. It looks like a Desolator is possibly in order here for the Clinks. To pick that one up. Level 6 is, though, very necessary for some of these supports here. You're looking at Darkrai, who's still at level 4 on his Witch Doctor, so Death Ward and Chronosphere, you know, we've seen this plenty back at TI4. We know the potential it has, and I'm sure they want to be able to have those kind of tools ready to go. So June needs to just kind of walk away from the lane a bit and get this Witch Doctor some time alone. And all the meanwhile, NewBee Young not kind of slacking at all. They're finding plenty of farm through the help of the Ancients and some extra side camps here. Looks like a frantic rush maybe. This Tidehunter trying to strap together, what do you think? Straight to the mechanism for him, favoring it over the Blink Dagger, perhaps. You know, it is against the Zeus after all. It could be tricky for any sort of setup, but having that extra bit of sustain might allow them to survive, let's say, that first initial chrono, or maybe even Death Coil.
Absolutely, yeah. I think Mech, then Blink, then Guardians. The Bassi is an interesting deviation, but I think that's just because of how his laning phase went, and he wanted the base mana regen that you get out of the item, since he has pretty low in.
Quick fingers from Yadja will be able to get the Blade Fury off just as Inflame dropped, not just the coil and the Rift. I mean, this was an attempted go onto the Jug, and it's all quickly thwarted with a simple button press, but quick fingers coming out from the NewBee Young player. Now they're back in.
Yeah, but Inflame does have his Blink now.
That's true. Oh, yeah.
No coil, but I think they're going to be able to make something happen if NewBee Young keep forcing. I mean, right now they don't have the coil, but they do have the chrono. They just need Clinks here, and he's obviously currently pushing top, but has the TP at the ready. So I wouldn't be too confident in NewBee Young's ability to just take a tower right now.
We'll see what is really on the docket for them. They got Vengeful Spirit her time. She's now level 7. Mur needs to get level 6 for his Rubik here. Lots of potential things to spell still here. Maybe a slacking Witch Doctor could lead to a ward. Shouldn't happen, but you really never know. Skeleton Walk has potential for scouting and intel seeking and stuff. And you never know. Handing over a Chrono, I know Faceless Void's able to walk through it, but I've seen plenty of times where a Chrono could be a game changer in the hands of a mighty Rubik to turn it around here. Ravage up.
Okay, so you know that when Faceless Void buys a smoke, shit's about to go down. So I think that we're gonna see a play from CDEC Young pretty soon. He'll farm up a little bit more. Try to probably finish the Witch Doctor's level 6, and then actually top lane is where they want to go.
Yeah, I mean, it started with them making their move for Clinks, but they miss on the dust a bit too far, and June was already TPing in, so Rubik not going to be able to make it away. It only takes a few shots coming out from that hard-hitting Clinks, and the Rubik just falls like paper. And it doesn't take too long for CDEC to go back on the prowl once more. They get their first kill, but Ame is going to get caught out. June steps in, thinks about the chrono, but now with Clinks being out of the picture here, and obviously no death ward on the Witch Doctor, it feels like it's not going to be necessary, but he's still hanging around. He has the intel treads already set up, like he wants to make this happen here.
They'd have to buy back. They would have to buy back the Clinks if they wanted this, but Inflame, he's can cancel right now.
I got it, two-man coils. TP's going to be stopped, and they look to make the move on to SC here. He quickly turns around, gets a huge Sands Eclipse. It's going to take down the Faceless Void. He's bopped up with the Coconut right now, Self-Astral. To help create a little bit of space, Yajia's going to be there to step in now, and CDEC Young are going to be getting nothing from this at all, and it ends up leading to another takedown. And another coil leading to no kill.
Dire's bottom tower
Just no damage. I mean, the Zeus did the top damage, and that was only 1150. Like, they just needed to add in an extra hero. That had to be the Clink. So, if you're gonna... I understand why it's so tempting, because of the TP right in front of your face, but unless you have the willingness to buy back on the Clinks and TP in, it's just not going to work.
Or like level 6 on a Witch Doctor there would have been
yeah,
damn
that
nice
obviously
to have.
That would have been
but
the answer,
you're right.
but
Without having any of those things, no Clinks, no level 6 Witch Doctor, you know, as much as the dangling fruit in front of you looks so sweet, and sometimes you better just let it go, otherwise you're going to be suffering so much more from it. They do lose just the one Faceless Void as the follow-up, but this is a Faceless Void who's in prime gear to try to put together as many items as possible to be relevant in this game. And you don't want to be handing freebies over here to NewBee Young. This Jug could get out of hand pretty damn fast. It looks like he's charging on forward for the Battle Fury buildup. It's not like he really needs to be cleaving off a lot of, you know, already mitigated damage. There's no Chen creeps, there's no Manta Splits or anything, but this will certainly accelerate his farm, and it could be possible for him to peak later in the game than Clinks would be able to, so we'll see. But hey, on the other
it's
side,
just Chinese
Clinks has got
Juggernaut
that,
things, honestly. Yep, so he's going to have the tempo, and that's going to be great. But honestly, it's just like, I always like to look at whether or not Battle Fury is really the item at that particular time. Do they want to fight? Do they want to farm? Do they want to build themselves up for certain stages? But honestly, it just comes down to Chinese Juggernaut things. Chinese Juggernauts always build Battle Fury after phase boots. Maybe a stat item in between, but otherwise, yeah, there's no real question about it. It's just what they do.
Here's CDEC Youth now making a swing through the NewBee Young territory here, even blocking, or rather just planting a ward along the way. Going real deep for this one here, but the OD is going to be showing himself in the mid lane, and I bet you CDEC Young are going to be looking to creep in from behind. They certainly are. They got a Chronosphere, they got a Dream Coil ready to go. This should be an easy takedown for them. There is going to be under a tier 1. There's the Zeus ulti. Ravage, swing once, miss. Second one will connect. June now going to be locked back and behind here. Inflame trying to move on forward, but finds himself caught between 3. The puck will go down, and it's another quick retreat out from CDEC Young. And to save the day, that Tidehunter interfering with the Ravage certainly shook things up for CDEC Young.
Man, CDEC Young just feel like they're choking on each individual fight. Like, they need to make sure that their abilities connect. That was a time dilation.
I think that they're choking, Blaze. I think you're right. I don't know. Oh, man. Yeah, CDEC Young definitely seemed to be a little off their game in this one. And oh, man, Jug finds his own kill there in the bottom lane. June, though, shows up. There's a death ward, there's a chrono combo, and there's going to be a kill on the Jug. Okay. Well, they find something there in the bottom lane finally, Blaze.
Queuing up the dubstep. Witch Doctor doesn't even break his smoke. That came out of nowhere. But no, it's still your Clinks going down. The Juggernauts, that's an even exchange. And then with the ultimates, it's actually fine for NewBee Young. So at this point in time, the BKB is up for the OD. He's in full fighting form. I feel like CDEC Young are just coming online, and it's already starting to feel a little bit too late. Every Ravage has connected perfectly for Lee, and CDEC just, every time they try something, they lose a hero more than the opponent. So it just seems like they need to find a way to make their teamfight execution work and find a way to get the control. And I think the big answer is going to be the Blink Dagger on June. If they can get that instant initiation, get that quick chrono out, then, you know, the cards can fall where they may. Chips will fall, rather.
June is already starting at Roche here. I know him alone might not be the best at being able to do this, but at least he's starting, or is he able to, with the help of bashes and time walking?
With the Clinks. Yeah, Clinks can go in suddenly. He goes on the side. If there's any bottom room ward, they won't be scouted, and he can tank it while the Clinks goes to work.
All right, so it looks like a swift Roche is in order here for CDEC. Young NewBee will not be the wiser at the moment, and instead will be just taking their own farm on their side. So they're happy to get this one for themselves. It's been already a bit of a staggering game for them, but now they have the benefit of the Aegis here. What's the plan with it, Blaze? Is it more to stall things out, anticipating that maybe NewBee Young could be building up a lot of confidence after how some of these skirmishes have gone? I'm sure they're feeling like their team fight is pretty damn good. With some of these items getting ready to come together, I'm sure they're going to be moving on forward. And will the Aegis be used more defensively from CDEC Young to kind of stall things out, or should they move forward with it?
That's a very good question, honestly. Like, against the mech advantage, against the Ravage advantage, and the BKB on SCC, 5-man is really hard, and it comes back down to that Blink Chrono. So, you don't want to just go for pickoff plays with an Aegis, because against Vengeful Spirit and I'm sure a lot of Dust, you're going to be caught out unless you have a BKB TP. So if you die once for the Clinks in a ganking scenario, you die twice, and that means the Aegis doesn't mean anything. So my mindset is the Aegis only means anything in 5-man fights, which they're already at a disadvantage. But Inflame looks like it'll be okay. Gets to jump out.
They try to make a jump for him right there, but Inflame quick to make a escape. Will orb the lane before making a committed TP back to the base. It looks like here NewBee just kind of testing the waters there at the top lane to see if any openings will present themselves. Chesbug even trying to scout out a lingering Darkrai Witch Doctor, but that won't even be there for them. And instead we'll head elsewhere. Look at this, already a commitment onto the Ghost Scepter here. That will limit the options for this Clinks to be able to open up on any sort of the back supports who are waiting with like a swap to save. So I like the early...
This is hilarious, actually. If Cheesebug just Ghost Scepter swaps into a Chrono, they can't do anything to him. Zeus is the only one who really hits him at all. So he actually can survive a Chronosphere along with his ally, and then they just Magic Missile and take the fight after it.
And if she dies in the middle of all of them, I'm sure her job had already been done. Saving an ally in need and handing over that aura is not the worst thing in the world, and CDEC Young are going to be forced to commit the Zeus ulti here to get a bit of intel. They see all of NewBee Young towards that top lane, while CDEC Youth here... I don't even know if one is Youth and one is Young, and I've probably been mixing them the hell up, but it's fine. Whether they're Youth or Young.
The way I think of it, NewBee starts with an N and has Young, N in the Young word. So that's essentially how I do it.
Fair enough. That actually might help me a lot, so I appreciate that. Oh, Waze spot out here from
Mnemonic
Chesbug.
devices.
Inflame is not going to be spotted though, and has found a nice little side pocket to kind of linger in the meantime. But it is definitely feeling like NewBee are happy to creep into CDEC territory here, and they're hoping for anyone to kind of overstep their boundaries. Oh my God, Inflame actually commits into the wave, blinks back out. Jaja doesn't even seem to flinch about it. Bottom lane though, what's going on down here? It's Ame who's still committing and sieging in this tier 2 tower. Murs stuck on defensive duty alone in the meantime, but help does finally show up, and CDEC are just not going to have any of it. They step back and away here. Very passive play from CDEC Young as they continue to be more on the evasive side of things and avoid any additional trouble from NewBee since they have this Aegis.
Yeah, I feel like CDEC Youth have to kind of luck out on an opportunity. They just kind of have to wander in and just find somebody really quick to kill. SCC is not that target. Please don't. Oh, he blinks out on a Chrono!
Whoa, what a quick reaction. Sidestep. Chrono going to be wasted right here. Deathward still dropped. SCC is going to be able to sidestep it a bit. And June will be eating along with the Ravage, and Ame going to be caught out as well. That's going to be the quick Aegis down. And the 4, 5 of them now crowd around and wait for him to return. They're going to be able to take him apart. And now, NewBee Young glisten as they just stride down this mid lane towards this tier 2 tower, man. What a swing and a miss. And was it? Oh, big coil mid lane in flame, but that was
completely
like the
full tilt.
75-cent coil. Like, what is going on, CDEC? They did not have their breakfast this morning.
They are checked out. This is...
What was that? Was that just like, I want to land a 4-man coil, Mom?
This is throwaway. Like, I don't know. It's just like, at this point, there's nothing left in the tank. They just gotta go next. There is nothing psychologically valuable in staying in this game. If they're just gonna be time dilating trees and dream coiling 4 heroes for no reason, they gotta reset. Just hit the reset button and take game 2.
Someone needs to check the Kool-Aid over at the CDEC facility right
Dyer's
now,
middle
because we saw CDEC earlier and I didn't know what the hell I was watching. Now I'm seeing CDEC Young for my first few games with them, and it's, I don't know, to be honest with you, it seems like a bit of a hot mess here. So hopefully something they can kind of shake off a bit, but it's clear in this game that it's been choke after choke at this point. And NewBee Young are just
maybe you're right. Maybe they should stay in the game just so the drugs get out of their system a little faster. I don't really know. This is actually ridiculous. I mean, there's minimal answers right now for them, honestly. Like, in this position, they've already lost so much, and this OD is just getting so strong. When OD finishes Shivas, as long as the Venge is relatively close to him at all times, I think that they are immortal, that they are impossible to beat unless they can somehow force a Ravage, disengage, and then go back in with all their ultis.
This might be a YOLO, one hell of a YOLO play here from CDEC. This time June does connect nice with a 2-man chrono, but there's the swap back. Chesbeck will be going down this time. SC is able to get to the high ground now, pops his BKB. The Ravage could not come out yet. It still needs 15 seconds before it's going to be at the ready. CDEC Young swing in, commit with everything they got, and only get a Vengeful Spirit down with it. So, biggest victory here for them, but they're still able to hang around. They jump in. They still got the Dream Coil here. Oh, quick side Astral. Was that a misclick Astral onto the Tidehunter? I think it was, but there he goes off. Anchor Smash. They're going to be able to quickly take down the Clinks here, and now it's a quick scramble out from CDEC. They do not want to be a part of this any longer. Step away. And then Jug also being taken. This was just a very awkward fight.
Yeah, this is a really interesting back and forth between Rubik and Void. They both have time dilation, so like the time dilation is actually getting its cooldown extended by the other person, and they're just trading these spells back and forth. So like it's actually Void who is as victim to the whims of time as everybody else on the side of NewBee Young. But yeah, at this point, I will say this: if the Chronosphere hit 3 heroes instead of 2, if it did catch the Venge, who was just on the northeastern part of it, and caught Cheesebug, that actually could have been really good. Because although there is a plate mill in the OD, they could focus him down. He wouldn't have been swapped. He couldn't get his BKB out. So I won't say that it's completely impossible. It's just inconceivable how to actually find that opening, and for NewBee Young to let them have the opening when they've been playing so strong through these past 26 minutes. Now the OD says plate mail is enough. I don't need to go for the full Shivas. I'll finish a Hex and pretty much be at a full game advantage from there.
And as they swing back and farm through their side, we wait as Roche, secondary timer could be up in a few seconds time here, but they're not going to wait for that. Oh, smoke detection is going to be coming out from CDEC Young in the form of the Zeus ulti. You'll see no one show up on the map, which means someone's out there smoking somewhere. So CDEC Young are going to go into more of a fetile position under their towers as they wait. SC does show himself here in the bottom lane and begin sieging this tier 2, but I imagine that CDEC do not want to be a part of this. They will let that go down and consider accepting the fact that they may just be losing all their outer towers here in the near future. NewBee Young just a little too scary to fight into at this point. So if you're asking for the dream setup here for CDEC Young, mostly on the back of course, this June Faceless Void with the assistance of his Blink Dagger, maybe you need to make setup plays like this. They smoke, they go on the move, and they're going into high ground territory here, and right into a Ravage. Now, Ame was able to get his BKB off, quickly sets to the side. Chrono comes in from June, so Clinks begins to go to work with it. It's a Tidehunter who's very big and beefy. Sidesteps, gets the Gia Juggernaut down instead. SC, though, begins to right-click apart Ame, but linked in by the Dream Coil here. This could be CDEC Youth's time. NewBee Young are going to be forced to go on retreat, but here comes CDEC Young. They're not looking to let him get away easily. No jaunt forward from the orb, but they catch out Chesbug inside the pit, or is it going to be a turnaround here? Oh, he does end up going down. June's going to go to the high ground, be able to TP away from trouble. Murs here now with SC. They make their move for Icy. They're going to get the Zeus.
Radiant's middle tower is
now
under
it looks
attack.
like potentially Ame looking for a re-engagement here. He hits pretty damn hard, and oh my god, with the Dag and Inflame will certainly help him assist in taking down that Rubik very easily. CDEC might have just put themselves right back in good contention for this game. Big fight for them.
That's a pretty big thing to say, though. Honestly, like the Klink's 10-second BKB is really strong, and they were able to get a great Chronosphere, despite I would say NewBee getting the first strike in that fight. But I don't think that puts them that much more in this game. That puts them less on the defensive. They get to move on the map a little bit more, but it's one step out of like 7 at least, where they have to keep making things like that happen. They have to keep finding openings with the Chronosphere, big ones, and the time dilation was actually huge that fight. Getting like a 5 or 4 man at least time dilation enables them to go for the chase, where NewBee essentially have to wait out that entire duration.
Well, they'll get the second Aegis of the game, and they'll hope to stall things out and not be forced into such a defensive position. Can expand a bit and at least farm up what is possible on their side of the river, but I mean, you are right after all. It's still NewBee Young who have the better net worth advantage and the better items here, and can be more confident about moving forward. Do need to wait out some of their cooldowns a bit. Ravage still in the works at this point. I'm sure they would love SC to kind of get his sheepstick online here, but will he have the time for it? It's actually CDEC Young who are patrolling a bit here. Klink's even considering going in deep. He has made quick work of this jug in a lot of the fights now, 2 fights at least.
Yeah. Jug does, however, every fight get his Omni Slash off, and it's about to hit level 16. They've been kind of crowding him, so his experience has been deprived, but finally we're going to see him come online with his maxed out ultimate, and I think that that's going to be just that much more potential for NewBee Young's team fight.
We'll see here. For now, majority of them all gathered here towards the bottom lane, feeling like maybe something's going to be fishy here in their woods, but CDEC Young are already on the way out. So it looks like no opportunities really going to be there to present himself. Icy going really all in with his magical burst on the Zeus. I didn't notice before, but he's got the Veil here. Looking to make the most, I'm sure, out of that time in the Chrono. So it's a lot of potential damage outbursts, but with the items that have already been thrown together from inside of UB, it's not going to be an easy shell to crack. So as they head towards this bottom lane and advance on forward, is it still NewBee just... Even with an Aegis on the other side, should they even be deterred about it one bit here, Blaze, or do they need to be persistent and just finishing out the job at hand? They still have a tier 2 to take down the top lane. I don't know how far off they feel like they're off from being able to breach into high ground territory, but I'm sure you don't want to create more possible outs here for CDEC Young.
Yeah, honestly, I would say this Klinks is the target that you're not going to be able to kill in the fight anyways. The second life or not, he's got a BKB. He's going to have that death pact HP, so he's actually the target that you focus last just because of how tanky he is by comparison to all these other heroes. Like, you kill a support Zeus, catch a puck without his cooldowns, the Void if you could disable him. Anybody else is going to eat the spells. Klinks is just going to stay back anyways. So I would say the Aegis isn't that big of a factor, but they don't have the impetus to push right now. Maybe they'll just wait for their own Roshan. They'll control the pit with the third Rosh spawn, and for now they'll just continue to spread the map.
Looks like so here. Farm coming in, Zeus ulti committed. They scout out and see NewBee in the mid lane right now. And NewBee are just quick to step back here, fearing that maybe CDEC are committing the Zeus ulti for a potential setup. They'd already done it a couple of times this game, so I can't blame NewBee for quickly going on the retreat once they see it come out. But it's only 2 minutes left here on the Aegis, so that also adds to the possible fear that CDEC Young are looking to make a move since it's on the back end of the timer for this Aegis, but I don't think CDEC Young are going to be looking to put it into fighting use yet. They are gathered towards this mid lane, and possibly for a smoke. There it is. Let's see what they can do with it. They head towards this
What's
mid
Implim
lane.
doing, though? This is real. Okay, he's getting an ultimate orb just before the engagement. Got to get those stats up. It's like 10 GG branches in one slot. It's extremely efficient.
But get over there, buddy. We need you to potentially get this whole thing set up right now, if not silenced and controlled here. So now he's showing up to party here, and NewBee are already back inside their baseline.
Yeah, I do like actually Puck leading the charge just to get the panic phase shift out. As soon as they break, they don't want to get initiated on. They want the Void to be the second guy, and he'll make the jump. So I think there's a lot of value in them making that kind of surround. They have the concave around the Klinks. He's the guy who has to siege. He's got the guy who, again, is too tanky, and he's not going to be really having any issues taking this tier 2 because they don't want to go on Ame.
Radiant's middle tower has
So it's going to be a tier 2, an easy one at that here for CDEC Youth. The Aegis should be expiring here, I'm sure, in a few moments, and they won't be able to really go on the assault as easy. And NewBee Young continue to kind of wait it out inside their base in the meantime. Do you think NewBee Young should be pressured to maybe get the Tidehunter to make the first committed leap into this fight before now. It's not a game where you're going to get some easy blink initiations, but maybe they're hoping that they can get the element of surprise and close this one out sooner than later on the back of a Tidehunter play.
Yeah, essentially Tide's just going to get the Ravage out whenever he can. He will try for the initiation. If he gets caught in the chrono, he'll just go for, obviously, the counter initiation in the middle of the fight. It's not going to be... Whenever he sees an opportunity, he's going to go for it. There's no reason to hesitate. He definitely wants to be the one to jump, and then the OD can use the Hex as a kind of appropriate cooldown to disable in the middle of the fight. So he can kind of just isolate a target, say that guy's going to die. There are no Force Staffs as far as I know for CDEC Youth, so they don't have a really good answer for this Scythe. As far as like a Lotus Orb, yeah, it's not that great of an item. It's okay, but it's another way to deal with that Hex.
Zeus is off cooldown. Zeus again, providing the intel necessary for CDEC Young here as they continue to farm up. Ame going even more with the damage build up here. He's got the crit now. So this right click is really going to be doing a big number here. As much armor as you got and as much life as you got here, you're on the bad side of a chrono. You're not going to be taking too many pot shots here from the little bone fletcha. But now a smoke out play here. Here comes NewBee Young. Let's see what kind of potential setup play they can make here. And as it happens, it's not under any sort of ward, but you'd think it was the way that CDEC Young are just quick to be inside their base, under their towers, and away from any sort of possible trouble.
Well, about halfway through the Zeus ulti is the most dangerous time for information and scouting for CDEC Youth. The fact is, I see, like you said, he's been using it nearly back-to-back to get information using Thunder God's Wrath, and as soon as you use Thunder God's Wrath, or in this case halfway through the cooldown, is when you have the least amount of information. So you want to make sure that you are playing safe, and when you don't have map control, when you don't even have good wards out, like you see the one ward they place is an anti-gem ward, where you hope that they won't see it and walk, like cut down a tree to find it. So they are playing around SEC's gem. They are trying to just play it extremely safe, but in the end, Inflame can only split push so much. They're going to have to take the fight.
After securing a tier 2 on the top lane, looks like NewBee Young will just make their way through
Radiant's
the
bottom tower
CDEC jungle front. And yeah, as you said, placing a nice unique ward here outside of typical vision here, so CDEC Young won't get the easy deward at this point. But now they have the Zeus up backup at the ready. They could decide to reserve it this time for a potential setup now for their side. It is nighttime after all. I don't know if that's something that would be more the benefit of CDEC Youth if they wanted to kind of go on the approach, and it looks like that is possible. Ame may be tempted here. A DD rune just feels oh so good, and it looks like he'll just kind of use it to farm up in the meantime. Very passive game. This is probably one of the more passive games I've seen this qualifier so far, but I guess that means that we're getting to the back end of this bracket, and where each game really does count.
I think it all comes down to Rush 3. Everybody's waiting. This is the big pay-per-view match. Everybody wants to get in this pit and try to make something big happen here. Big items are coming out to prep for this fight. We've got the Scythe coming out on the puck now. He's already had a dig on 3, but he stopped ranking it, which I think is a good call to get that Hex out. And then the Clinks, Daedalus, pretty much online here. He's going to pick it up in just a second. So that's huge. Daedalus, I mean, you can two-shot somebody if you get the right crit. So I think that is creating some real potential for CDEC where they didn't have it before, but I still favor NewBee in the pit.
Minimum timer here for the Roche, but it obviously is not going to be up for at least another minute and a half or so. They go for a quick D-ward mission here, and this all comes after very nice Zeus ult helps CDEC Youth avoid a bit of trouble where NewBee was looking to flank them. A missed opportunity for them, and it looks like it will continue to be that waiting game you're talking about for that magical number 3 Roche fight. Who takes that? NewBee end up getting that one. This game is more in the bag than it already was before, but CDEC Young, we've been trying to hold out, are hoping to get that third Roche for themselves. Look at Clinks though, man. He's able to just shred through this top tier 2 tower and immediately makes his retreat, backing out. And it's about getting back near that Roche pit. They know that it's got to be up soon. Mur is already on watch right now as the Rubik, just waiting it out right now in hopes that it's going to be popping up soon, even far away from his team. It's just a very valuable time, and it's going to take just a few more moments before we see who's going to be walking away with the prize.
At this point, Vision does go to the side of NewBee Young. They're going to be able to keep this Observer Ward up for a little bit here. You got the Zeus, you got the Inflame Gem Let's see if they can get that map control back before that response is about just ticking down now, the timer. Maybe Mantilusions, the next set, will go from Jaja into the pit, and that'll give at least their side an idea. Then one Lightning Bolt or Orb, and CDEC will know as well, and from there it's even odds as far as who gets the jump.
Yeah, that Faceless Void Scepter now online. Means that he'll be able to have it once for fight. It's not to be second guessing it here. NewBee creeping in down this mid lane. And it's time to start approaching the Roche pit here. If they look to go from the low ground, this could be prime positioning.
Oh, that ward! That's so huge!
But they just dropped a nice ward from the low ground. They're going to see exactly what's going on, and as the June makes a jump, the rest of the team gets caught up in a huge Ravage play coming out from the Tidehunter now, but Inflame is still be able to set it down and knock down the Rubik. The Clinks now, the pesky Desolate right clicks coming out. The Tidehunter is going to be taken down. Jaja up in arms with Inflame as the Odie comes up and over and above. They're going to be able to take him down, but it's Ame who's dishing the hard-hitting damage right now. He's going to get astraled up, but oh my goodness, SC just absolutely decimates the whole team with one hell of a Sanity's Eclipse. That Clinks went into that Astral alive and well and came out into a pile of bone dust. CDEC youth all down and out. Oh my god.
Some major plays coming out here from NewBee Young. The ward from the low ground to the high from Cheesebug was the way to start that fight amazingly well. The Tide using that information to get the perfect Ravage, which counter he had like 15% life or less and no life insurance. He gets the Hex out and does so much damage. Conclusion here.
Yeah, they get a nice from June as he tops in with the time dilation, but it only leaves that's going to be game. The game felt past. So important. Ward that won in the game. Savage play. Very nice. After that game one. And for CDEC Young, whatever happened, get something to eat and shake it off because it